Alive or not alive?
All the above.
Your Memorex.
We have commenced. Welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence third Thursday call. Today is June 18th, 2020. We have a very special guest we're going to introduce you to. First, I'll introduce myself. I'm Noel Marshall, and this is my beloved
Bob Warner.
And together we call ourselves
The LightPartners.
LightPartners. So, Bob, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Co-Creators Convergence?
I'll do that. First off, I'd like to say we're really excited to be broadcasting our monthly third Thursday call. Our monthly third Thursday call on Facebook Live for the first time tonight. It'll be a regular habit from now on. So for those of you unfamiliar, the Co-Creators Convergence is a heart-resonant community of uniquely gifted souls dedicated to embodying and amplifying our collective consciousness, thereby co-creating a world that works for everyone. We do this with great love, compassion, joy, honoring all realms of creation to create and accelerate an awakening of humanity. There are 4 ways you can be involved in our community. One is you're doing it right now. It's our third Thursday of every month call. The second way is we have a website that maintains an archives of all of our calls going back 6 years. Amazing amount of joyful time together in our community. The third way is our very active Co-Creators Convergence Facebook page. And so you're welcome to join there as a friend. We'd love to have you be a part of this community. And lastly, annually, we gather at Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado for the Co-Creators Convergence Live. And we sit in circle and support each other in great love in all of our work in the world. We call it a love fest with a theme. There's no speaker at the front of the room. There's no panels, no workshops. There is a recognition that each of us is a creator, each of us a co-creator with others and with spirit. And after a theme is declared, we kind of bring it all together with a volunteer team of weavers that weave. The participants bringing of experiential processes to the circle. So a number of you that are on the call tonight and others that will watch this have been a part of that circle in years past. And this year's was postponed for a reason that all of us know and is now scheduled for September 9th through 13th, right?
That's right.
At Sunrise Ranch. You can get more details about that on the website.
And I just want to say what the theme is this year is Portals of Possibilities, Embracing the Unknown.
What an appropriate theme.
So the theme was changed to, and that's going to be, yes, September 9th through 13th at lovely Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. But now I want to tell you about our special guest tonight is Fumi Johns Stewart. She's Executive Director of May Peace Prevail on Earth International. And guess what they're promoting? Peace. So we like that. And they do this worldwide. And they've been doing it for many years. And Fumi's going to fill us in on this. Fumi grew up in Japan with a sincere wish to bridge 2 cultures of her American and Japanese parentage. She was instrumental in introducing the May Peace Prevail on Earth in her community and on the international community in the early 1980s. She brought the Peace Pole Project out of Japan and helped to establish the international peace pole movement. She has assisted in opening the international headquarters of May Peace Prevail, which was registered as a nonprofit corporation in New York in 1988. Fumi also serves as U.S. liaison to the sister organization, the Goi Peace Foundation of Japan, and the Mount Fuji Sanctuary. She currently lives in San Francisco and travels extensively to spread the message of peace. So
we're so happy to have you with us this evening, Fumi. I want to tell everybody how we met in person because some of you know that Noel and I have been peace proponents and planters of peace poles for a number of years. We had one that traveled with us around the country during the Birth 2012 tour of 48 states with planted peace poles at Noel's family farm and at the Peace Pentagon in Virginia and at the White Eagle Lodge and St. John Retreat Center in Montgomery, Texas. And when we went with Unity Earth on the Holy Land Living Waters delegation hosted by Eco Peace Middle East, the first week of February to the River Jordan. The opening night reception on the 1st of February was when we came to know that the executive director of May Peace Prevail on Earth was in fact in the delegation as well. And so we found each other in that room of 94 people, and we haven't been apart since, because we're very excited. When Fumi said to me, "Oh, let me give you my contact information," I said, "Well, let me put it right here on the phone." And I opened up my phone screensaver, and it says, there's a peace poll on my screensaver. She says, "Oh, you people, we're together. We're on this together." And it's been like that ever since. So we're very, very excited about having you here this evening to talk about history, your involvement in the peace movement worldwide. We can just have a good time talking about any bits and parts of that. And we also want to talk about World Unity Week coming up this Saturday for 8 days through the 27th. And there will be a peace poll activation, an entire hour and a half on the main hall within the World Unity Week. And let's not forget, before we leave, we're going to have to tell them about how they're going to be able to win a peace poll, which we will be handing out during that time next Tuesday during World Unity Week. So with that, Fumi, would you please tell?
Are you going to bring us in a little center?
Oh, do you want to do that? Okay, we can do that. Let's do that. So let's spend a moment catching our breath, or I'll catch my breath. And if you would like to join me. So for a moment, if we would, and you're comfortable with letting your eyes go soft, let your eyes close, and take a giant, deep breath. Breath up all the way from Mother Earth, the tips of your toes, and exhaling all of the day's activities, stress, hours on Zoom calls, traffic, everything. We're here together. And as we breathe in and breathe out, we know that it was meant to be that we would be here this evening in this sacred circle to be in joy, to be in peace, to share how all of us are an instrument of peace. And that there are many other ways in the world of being able to show that peace as individuals, as movements, as organizations, as gatherings. Take in another breath. Take in a breath of the love that exists on this planet, and breathe out that love with your peace attached to it. We are the peacemakers. Every day we have opportunity, every hour we have opportunity. It's delightful to be sitting around the virtual campfire this evening with all of you, knowing that others will watch this recording and they too were here with us in spirit in this circle. So with one final breath in and letting out that peace and love, and join us in this time together. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Didn't realize how much I needed that. That was great. I would turn it over to you and our dear guest, Fumi.
Thank you. Fumi, we're delighted to have you with us this evening, and we would love to have you share a bit about how you came to be a part of all this, how you came to be a part of this through your time in Japan, what it's meant for you to be involved in this for literally the decades that you have been involved. And later we'll talk a little bit about some of the specifics about May Peace Prevail on Earth and the types of programs and activities. But over to you.
Right. Thank you, Bob and Noel. I'm so thrilled to be here because I can say that we are all truly light partners. And I remember when the three of us were floating on the Dead Sea together. I mean, you know, that's a pretty special friendship, because I can't say to so many people that, oh, we floated on the Dead Sea together and we were talking about peace poles and light work and co-creation. And so it was a very special moment. And I know all of you here are my family. You're my family. So all of us are co-creators, and I know that we're being called now to step up and do this important galactic peace, cosmic earth peace, on so many levels, multidimensional levels of creating and spreading peace together now. So I'm so happy you invited me to speak, and I'm really, really, this is my joy. May peace prevail on earth is my joy. And how did it all start? I'm going to be like a bumblebee going from delicious flower to delicious flower, because every flower is so delicious, and I might be journeying a little bit from here to there, but I think a good place to start is the origin. How did this all come about?
Yeah.
And it started with a Japanese mystic philosopher. He was a man of literature, a man of art. He was born in 1916. So he was the inspiration behind the message, May Peace Prevail on Earth. So he lived through World War II. He was 29 when the atomic bomb fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And I think that was really the key of pushing him or nudging him into, his quest for peace, his quest for inner peace and spiritual peace as well. So he went through a lot of spiritual training and studying, and he reached the so-called, oneness state, oneness with his true self, his inner being, his divine spark. And he received, in a moment of inspiration, the words, May peace prevail on earth. So it was like, it was divinely inspired, and he was received the message that because Japan is, and we hope that it is still going to be, is forever, is the only country that experienced the atomic bomb, that there needs to be a very powerful and sacred and profound message of peace coming out from Japan to the world. Like, that is our really big mission. So May Peace Prevail on Earth became that message, the invocation and affirmation of peace. And that was in probably around 1954, 53. And so with that, people naturally gravitated around him. He was a very charismatic man. He counseled and had spiritual teachings, and he guided a lot of people. So that's how a group started to form around him in a little village outside of Tokyo. And that was the start of the May Peace Prevail on Earth movement. And he said, just throw yourself into this prayer. So you can imagine, like, after World War II, Japan was in recovery, still healing. It's not like the country now where Japan is very, it's a world leader now. But back then it had a lot of poverty, still a lot of suffering. It was still rebuilding. And people came to him with no food. They hardly had money to live from day to day. And he said, it's okay, you can come, you can do the healing, but you must include the invocation and send out the energy of May Peace Prevail on Earth out to the world. You must do this because you are part of humanity. It's the oneness of humanity, universal love. We was teaching this back in the days. I think it was still, pretty advanced at that time, especially to these people who were suffering so much. He said, you're part of humanity. You must pray for world peace. Your happiness is connected to global happiness, and that is this movement. So, it started by people just immersing themselves in May Peace Prevail on Earth, May Peace Prevail on Earth, sending that out. And, gradually the little stickers, people would do a neighborhood stickering activity where they would go from door to door and ask, the community, can you please put up this peace sticker, May Peace Prevail on Earth. And I believe a lot of them were in English at that time too. So, that just like all across Japan, it was this big movement of stickering. And if you go to Japan, you'll see all those stickers, in the villages, and it's just so touching. And
We actually were in Japan one time.
Wow.
did you see any?
Well, we were tuned in.
No, now you will. I think now if you go, you'll just see it more off. You will come across it, I'm sure. That's how it happens. But so that's the founding. And let's see where to go from there. I personally, I made my commitment to work for world peace when I was very young. And because my father's American, mother's Japanese, I grew up in Japan. It was still, post-war. And there was a big question in my mind. And the question was, as a small child, why did my fatherland bomb my motherland? This was really a big question, and it didn't make sense in my heart. I just couldn't understand. And so that was the start of, I think, my connection to wanting to be a peacemaker and also become a bridge between East and West. So there was a strong calling from when I was a very young child. And at the age of 20, I remember I went from Japan and went to Los Angeles, and I lived there. I was living there at the time. And my friend had a sticker, and it said, May Peace Prevail on Earth. And I saw that sticker, and there was an instant knowing. You know how we all have the aha, instant knowing moment? Well, that was my instant connection knowing moment of, I'm here to do this work. And when I heard that this is a movement out of Japan, well, that confirmed it even more. So from that day forward, I wanted to learn all about May Peace Prevail on Earth, where it came from, and I got connected, of course, to the Japanese group there. And that was back in, gosh, 1980. 81, maybe 1980. So that was the start of my journey with May Peace Prevail on Earth. And I loved it so much. It just spoke so directly to my heart. And until today, my passion for this work has not changed at all. So after that, the only places that had peace poles, the peace poles were being planted in Japan, and I love the peace poles. And I thought, well, this should be planted all over the world. This should be in every country, in every community. So with that was my vision. And in 1980, it was in 1982, I was still living in Japan at that time. I said, I want to do a peaceful journey. And this peaceful journey is going to take me to America, to the United States. And I thought, it's so important to plant peace poles, because we see peace poles as healing. It's an acupuncture of the earth. It's energetic. It has a very potent mission and purpose on its own. So I thought, well, the first peace poles in America should be planted in the first 13 colonies, because that's where all the karmic history of United States is. And so I went on this big mission of, it was purifying the karmic history of America, you know, and I was still young at that time, but still, you know, I had this vision, and I think it's valid. It's still very valid. And it was a big undertaking, but my girlfriend and I, the two of us, my Japanese girlfriend and I, she said she wanted to come along. So I said, okay, let's do this trip together. And it was the days before internet, before email. Everything was done on the phone or by letter. And I reached out to New Age centers, health stores, co-ops, you know, New Age centers. And I wrote all these letters, and I got 51 locations. And the reason why it's 51 is because the founder's name is Masahisa Goi, and Goi means 51. It's the number 51. So I thought, well, that's so significant. So it's going to be 51 peace poles. So we shipped the peace poles in a cargo freight ship, and we mapped out all the locations on the map, calling people, letters, and approximate day and time that we would arrive. And actually it worked out really well, and we were, you know, everything went on schedule, and lots of phone calls along the way and lots of motels along the way. So we landed in New York, and we rented a U-Haul, and we said, okay, we're going to drive to Boston, the Boston pier where the peace poles are being, you know, it landed, the peace poles landed. So we went, and we put all the peace poles in the back of the U-Haul truck, and we started our journey. So we started, you know, up New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. We went up to Canada, to Montreal for one peace pole, and we came back down, and we just traveled all the way through the 13 colonies. And yeah, it was an amazing trip, and I'm actually writing something with photographs on our new website so people can enjoy the stories of that journey along the way. So it was very successful, and after we planted all those peace poles, and we did it in a very short time. I think it was only 3 weeks we traveled. So every day we would plant at least three peace poles. Some days 4, we would just stop very quickly, plant the peace pole, say hello, and go to the next destination. And when we were done, we had a couple of interviews on magazines, and my hope was that peace poles would start being crafted in the US, so it wouldn't be so expensive to ship them out of Japan. And someone, or you know, this man read the article, and he wrote me a letter. I had gone back to Japan then. He wrote me a letter, and he said, I would love to be your peace pole maker. In fact, I would just love to do this. And so the how would you say, it was a divinely orchestrated that this man his name was Joseph, and he was a carpenter, and he lived in a town called East Jordan. Isn't that just, well, there's no coincidences, we know, but he was Joseph the carpenter who lived basically in Jordan. So, you know, I know we all know the Bible to at least that extent. And I thought, he's our man. He's our man, and he's going to be our peaceful maker. So we had a long relationship with Joseph. He lived in Michigan. This is in Michigan, northern, near Traverse City. I think it was near Traverse City. Maple City. And he was our peaceful maker for, gosh, 25 years. Now there's a different peaceful maker. But he, you know, he served as peaceful maker for a long time. So that was the start of, you know, making peacefuls available in the US. And that started in 1986, which was the International Year of Peace that was proclaimed by the United Nations, also the Year of the Harmonic Convergence, right? And many things were occurring around that time. So very pivotal time, you know, that it was a convergence of energy that year. And from there, you know, we just grew and grew. In 89, the Japanese Association at the foot of Mount Fuji said, why don't we become a nonprofit, you know, open up international nonprofit organization. And they decided to base it out of upstate New York. And that happened in 1989. And so we got incorporated as a nonprofit grassroots peace organization as of 1989. And yeah, we've traveled so many, I mean, this is decades. I'm talking decades, 60, like 50 years now. So a lot of long history. But I think what's really, when people see a peaceful, I think they feel very connected to the message. And that is the power of the peaceful. It's a message that really brings people of different backgrounds, cultures, traditions, and there's no, how would you say, it's non-dualistic, there's no enemy. We embrace all, and it's not a movement where we take sides, political sides. We stay very neutral because we need to be an open heart for everybody that walks through the May Peace Prevail on Earth door. And it really has served in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let me ask a question to go a little deeper into that specific, if you would, for me, because it's interesting that as Noel and I have spent more time getting to know a lot of people and movements and organizations over the last 12 years, we've had our opportunity to be at conferences with World Beyond War and other anti-war or peace activists, veterans for peace, that sort of thing. And I'm glad you brought up about political, because when we've been in some of our courses with Game Changer Intensive, which I know a couple of people on the call have also been a part of with Pachamama Alliance, and we get put into small groups and find ourselves that there are, quote, spiritual people who resonate with Pachamama Alliance message and their mission and that sort of thing. And there are people who say, well, I've been protesting in the streets for peace and legalized marijuana since 1968 in San Francisco. And so it's interesting for us, as new to this, new meaning the last 10 or 12 years, to recognize that there's a role for all in that, because their intent is the same peace, if you will. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what the relationship of the organization is when it comes to things like nuclear disarmament. We've been around people and organizations who fight very vehemently about there's too many U.S. military bases all over the world, et cetera, and it's got all of its issues down the list. And Daniel Ellsberg, right. And so, and then there's this spiritual side of the deep knowing of the significance of personal and inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
which is the foundation for
Right.
the opportunity for countries and
Mm-hmm.
regions and tribes.
I think it really comes down to what is your mission and what is your purpose, because everybody has a mission and purpose. And the nuclear disarmament group, I mean, Japan, you know, we need to, not we need to be, but we know that that's disharmonious, you know, so anything that's against harmony, love, compassion is obviously not a good thing, obviously. But as a May Peace Prevail on Earth movement, I think you know, we stay neutral. Of course, you know, we co-convene and co-host events that are for against nuclear weapons and so forth. But we try to be non-dualistic and not have an enemy, you know, because that causes waves of struggle and disharmony. So we're careful about that very much, but we respect all, you know, organizations that have a mission. But I think the May Peace Prevail on Earth, because of energetic, it's a energy work. And so, you know, we want to feed positive and harmonious vibrations and waves to all organizations working for peace, whether it's, you know, political, and this is done silently, because I think when we put up a peace poll, you know, it really is healing and sending energetic waves of transformation and transmuting the negative, harmonious thought forms into light. So, you know, we do a lot of the work silently, and hold the silent visual without being, you know, expressive out front with any policies. So I don't know if that answers your question, but you know, we know that we're powerful beyond measure. You know, our energetic, uh, our mission as energy beings, you know, our frequencies, our thought forms, you know, that our very existence is all vibrating with energy. So, you know, when whatever we put out into the world becomes an energy field and is stored in the auric field of the earth, it actually just remains there like a whole, like a field around the earth. And until we send out purifying and pure intentions and love and harmony and compassion, it's not, how would you say, erased. It doesn't dissipate, it doesn't disintegrate. So those thought forms of disharmony, they're created by man, and we can undo them by, we can undo it with our thought forms. So that's really also an aspect of May Peace Prevail on Earth, the esoteric work that we really believe that is happening, you know, invisibly. And also, you know, I think everybody here is very connected to guardians and higher beings, people in the hierarchy, the wisdom keepers in the higher worlds, the saints and sages, and the advanced evolved cosmic beings from other planets. I mean, we're not the only ones living in this solar system. I mean, so many beings that are highly evolved in the galaxy. So the peaceful connects with all of them. And I'm told that, you know, the higher evolved cosmic beings love the peacefuls because they have a point, you know, standing on Earth where they can transmit and connect to. It's like a transforming station for them. So, you know, I'm getting into a lot of esoterics, but it is pretty, deep. And then at that point, you're beyond the political, you're beyond the earthly, and you just enter the field of just being a divine vessel, and wanting to shine your divine spark, and being a true, pure vessels of the divine, and the cosmic relatives we have.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, you're speaking our language. I think. Yeah.
I knew it when I first met you.
I'm going to use all those words when we plant a peace pole at a women's center next Wednesday in Johnson City, because the Republican mayor will be there. So I'm going to tell him about the homing station.
Oh gosh. We're in good company here.
Yes.
When we go out, we plant peace poles at schools. We give them to mayors. We give them to places of worship. We're in communication of so many people, and we need to be very respectful. So, the nonprofit grassroots side of the movement, we just simply want to plant and anchor May Peace Prevail on earth, knowing invisibly what it is doing. But that does not have to be talked about, because we believe it to be true.
How many acupuncture points do you think there are in the planet, and how many countries? I know you've been at this for a long time. I don't know if you've ever tallied that, or you just put it out to the...
Well, it's estimated that they're close to 200,000 peace poles. So you can imagine that the earth, with all these healing acupuncture points, is shining, and it's connecting between earth and heaven, the energy field, and also going into the ground. The roots of the peace pole is all connected, and then toward the top of the pyramid, it's connected above and below. So it gives a very nice visual when you think about that. But I really believe that something mystical, magical, and sacred is going on with these peace poles on planet Earth.
Well, I have a great idea that we should get together, and we should go to Washington, D.C. and get one of those projectors, that they project on, and project May Peace Prevail on Earth on the Washington Monument.
Okay.
How about that?
Well, there is a peace pole at the Pentagon Chapel. And almost Trump, we did not send one to. We sent one to Obama. And a lot of presidents have gotten it. Of course, we don't know what they do with it. They get so many gifts. But we have sent, actually, President Carter was the only one that thanked us with a letter. But you know what kind of a man he was.
Absolutely. And still, yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Let's plant peace poles. Let's plant peace poles.
So
well, I loved your story. I can just envision you. Oh, okay. Judith's going to have a question here.
Yeah.
I'll let Judith.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you were talking, I went to your website and saw the thing on how to order a peace pole, and that you do it in 4 languages for 100 and 8 languages for 160, which is very cool. So in Denver, we're having marches and demonstrations, and what kind of rules do you know if there are about being able to plant one in a public place? Because I could buy one, put one in my yard, which I may do anyway, but to do something that would be involving the community and pull some people together to talk about peace and what we're doing would be, it might be catalytic for some folks. And I'm wondering what advice you have about trying to do something publicly rather than just buy one and plant one.
There have been so many public peace pole plantings. So it's all up to you and your community.
Right. What I'm asking for is, do you know any tips? I mean, a city to give you permission, and You know, to put it in
Well,
the park, for example.
cities have red tape. You know, you have to go through the steps.
That's what I'm
A
asking.
lot, yeah, a lot of mayors have planted peace bowls. City parks have peace bowls. City halls have peace bowls. You know, they are planted in official locations, including the World Bank and, you know,
Yeah, I
IMF.
know, but that's not the point. The point is I don't care about where they are. That's not my question. The question is how to get it
How to do
approved
it.
and involved. You know, do I
Uh,
call the mayor's office? Do I call the planning commission? Do I
mhm.
show up and say, hi, let me do this?
If you want to gift one to your mayor, they usually have their secretary or their press people or the media people. And you would start there and said, I'd like to gift this peace poll to the people of you know, city. And I'd love the mayor to receive this peace poll on behalf of the city. And, you know, people are, especially now, I think, you know, people are very open to the idea.
Okay, I guess I'm going to be persistent here.
Part
Because it's not just getting them to say, yes, I'll receive a peace poll. It's getting a commitment to get it planted someplace visible where folks will walk by and be moved.
Yes, absolutely. And there are a lot of
Really, on the state capitol where there are where all the demonstrations are going.
Mhm.
And if you know any tips about dealing with politicians to get approval, that's what I'm asking for.
Yeah,
you know,
I'll jump in also.
every politician is different.
Okay.
I mean, they would react differently.
So you haven't found any universal principles on this works most of the time.
Oh, you know, because then everyone that plants a peace bowl, it becomes a, you know, so like introduces the peace bowl and becomes the spokesperson for that peace bowl. You know, explain the history, not particularly the history I explained here, but where it comes from, the meaning of it. I think the Hiroshima and Nagasaki story is very powerful, and people do relate to that story, and that it comes from Japan. And I think just reach out to the mayor, if it's a mayor, you know, the mayor's office, if it's a governor, the governor's office, and just
Hey,
do a
Fumi,
shout out.
Robin would like to chime in here. So I'm going to.
And I got some ideas for you also, Judah. So
Hi.
let Robin go ahead.
Oh, hey, you know, I did a lot with my city in terms of an air quality issue, and I found it very effective to work with your city council member. They're accessible, and you know, you just check to see if that's a city council member that's receptive to this thing. If not, you try another one, but hopefully your city council person will be, and you'll, you know, just then be persistent, be very persistent and kind and respectful, and tell them what a great idea this is and how good it'll make them look. And you just, you follow through. You follow through. They won't follow through. You follow through. And I've gotten a lot done with even my state senator and assembly person by being kind, persistent, and just letting them know what a great thing this is for them to do. So, you know, ask for their help. And then I just wanted to say that I worked at the Bodhi Tree bookstore on Melrose in West Hollywood. And we had a peace poll. And then across the street, MOA, M-O-A, had a peace poll.
That's right.
So yeah, but MOA, what's that stand for? That's also from Japan.
Yes,
It's
I don't know what it stands for, but yes, I know the Bodhi Tree bookstore very well.
yeah.
Oh,
So-
Robin.
Thank
Great.
you.
So Judah, like Robin said, find even just one person who resonates with the message, and that person is going to become your champion.
Right.
And you know,
I hear
open doors for you. Yeah.
Another,
I have an old friend who's on city council, but the mayor and I don't know each other. So
that's a starting point for you, Judah. You know, the other thing that we've explored here in the local area is interfaith groups. As Fumi mentioned, there's a number of new thought churches that have them, and other denominations that have peace polls.
yeah.
But there's a interfaith council community group that gets together and whatnot. That is like a lot of leverage onto the political side, because there'll be, you know, 5 different representatives of 5 different religions that are going arm in arm to the mayor or the city council or the head of the Parks and Planning Commission and saying, we really think this would be, yay, we can do it on our own church grounds, we'll do that. But we also think it sends a strong message about our community totally. And so there's avenues into it like that. We're going to be planning one. So our access, so you know, next week we're planting one at a women's center that we've been a part of here in Johnson City. And then because of COVID, we didn't want it to be a big crowd. There's only like a dozen people are invited. Well, one's the city council member and one is the mayor. And then I ran into the mayor at the Black Lives Matter march the other day. I introduced myself and said, you know, we would love to do something in September during Peace Weekend and have something on public grounds, whether that's at the Commons or whatever, or Founders Park. And she's saying, yeah, let's keep talking. And as Robin suggested, we realize we have to be the ones that follow through on it. They have other things to deal with, like people marching every night in their little town. And so, so we're going to.
Yeah, I just want, go ahead. I want to, Fumi, you have so many great stories, but I want to share with people about when we went to the Holy Land. We went there as part of, Bob, you brought it up, interfaith. We went there with the interfaith group. There were 100 of us, a delegation. We were there from February 1 through 7. Fumi was part of it. And so she packed in the overhead bin 2 peace poles. And she said, I don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere. And Fumi, you want to talk about how you planted peace poles on our trip? I thought that was so cool.
It was
Well, you know, I think peace poles have a life of their own, and they know exactly where they want to go. Truly. And in fact, there was a friend years ago, he was in the Bay Area, Berkeley area, and he mapped out where some of the peace poles were, and they were right on the earthquake fault line.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they just know. They just know they resonate with the earth. There's something magical about them. So I thought, okay, bring 2 peace poles. Ben said, bring 2 peace poles. And we said, okay, we don't know where they're going to go, but it just presents itself. And the first peace pole we left in Bethlehem. Remember?
Oh, yes.
That was like the perfect moment. The mayor's deputy was there. And Ben said, this is it. I said, this is the place, and so we got the peace pole out. And then the next peace pole, because it had Amharic on it, he wanted to have Amharic language, which is the language of Ethiopia, because we were traveling with the Ambassador Musi from Ethiopia, who is with United Religions Initiative, and the prince was with us.
Haile Selassie's grandson.
Yeah, was with us. So he really thought, oh, we need one with Amharic. So we're saying, well, where is the second peace pole going to go? And it just so happens that we're invited to to go to the church of the Ethiopian church in Jerusalem. Yeah, remember?
Oh, yes.
So we looked at each other and said, that's the place for the second peace pole. And our friend, we had to walk it was a long walk in Jerusalem to get to this church. And Monica's husband carried that peace pole for us all the way to Jerusalem, carried it for us to that church. So, yeah.
I'm going to put a PS on that. I think the one in Bethlehem, they said they used to have one, but it got shot up.
Yeah, that's right.
So in we came with a new one. Our group came to deliver because of your,
Yeah, it's
connection to the guidance.
Yeah. Well, can we tell a little story about our peace pole?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so
Okay, before we leave this topic, I want to say to Judah about the planting. Well, you create your own ceremony around the peace pole, and it could be with the city, it could be with your church, it could be with the kids. You could get involved, the community to come together. And one beautiful way of involving the community is through children.
Yeah.
So you could go to a school, for example, and usually schools love peace bowls. And you could say, let's involve the kids. How about if I would give or offer this peace poll, and how about if the kids and we all go and give this to the city mayor? Make it like involve the kids, and then in that way you could have a ceremony with children at the city hall or the public library or wherever it is. It really usually works out very, very well to bring in the children, and they love the peace polls. And you can also get a peace poll where you can paint on it. Like it's called an art peace poll. And the kids could, put fingerprints, or, you want it to be a little nice looking. If you're, artistic kids in junior high, or, we've got some incredible, like beautiful hand painted peace poles, and that could be something else to give to, a special place. So
Yeah.
I just remembered, some creative ways to get the community involved.
Yeah, so I've heard city council, find somebody who knows the mayor, find somebody who knows the governor, or some politician, spiritual and multi-faith organizations, schools and children, and maybe neighborhood associations, etc. So those are all really excellent ideas. Thank you.
You're going to be busy, Judah.
Well, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen because Spirit allows it. I've got
Exactly.
other things that I gotta take care of. But
Yes.
it's the kind of thing where I can put out some initial feelers and
I love it.
and see who says, "Oh yeah, let's do that."
Yeah.
Wonderful.
When you another thing that we're doing at the Shakti, where we're at the Women's Center, Bob's been talking about Shakti in the mountains. It's you came with some instructions about planning your peace poll, and one of them was to get a 2-liter soda bottle, and then you could put prayers, or you could put a time, what do you call those things?
Time capsule.
Time capsule. And then that fits, there's our poll there, that fits up inside, and then you can plant that. Isn't that a cool idea? So that's another thing that you could, and I could see that really attracting children.
Yes.
They could plant it when they're 10, and let's come back when you're 35 and see what you had to say to yourself. Huh? Let's
That's
do it.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
the ceremonies are so creative. People will write poetry, read it, stuff prayers into the inside of the peace bowl, bring their feathers and crystals and put it in the hole before the peace bowl goes in. There's so many things you could do at a peace bowl planting.
Yeah, that's really cool. And, also speaking about children is that when Bob and I went on our 48 state tour, we had a peace poll that we took with us, and we had a portable stand, and then we would set it up outside our RV. None of the adults would talk to us.
In the campgrounds.
They would just kind of look like, and then
Whatever.
the kids would come up and go like, "What's that about?" And then we would talk loud enough. Well, we're doing this tour to bring more peace to the earth and wake people up. You can hear the parents, see the parents just. But that was, that one little girl just cracked me open with her, her innocence.
Yeah.
Go to the innocence, that the wisdom of the children.
Love it.
And,
Yeah.
So,
You also have a program,
don't you have
the
a
flag program,
Oh, the flag ceremonies.
International Flag Ceremony, which we did the first or second night that we were in Jordan at the Dead Sea.
We
So
did.
amazing.
The peaceful
share
is
about that.
the peaceful is the how would you say, the signature project. I think that's the really big project that people gravitate to, and the World Peace Flag Ceremony is a ritual. So, but we traveled around the world presenting World Peace Flag Ceremony, every continent. I mean, it is very moving because we send invocation and prayers for peace to prevail in each of the 195 countries by name. And we bring the flags, which we see as a spiritual symbol, a sacred symbol of every country. And we direct the prayers for peace to prevail through every, through the flags. And so it's this dramatic, like, tapestry of colors and flags and countries, just like merging together in this beautiful ceremony, or calling out Afghanistan, may peace be in Afghanistan, Albania, may peace be in Albania. And the flags are, depending on the venue, it could be a grand ceremony on stage, it could be in a small, intimate gathering with, from big flags to medium flags to tiny card flags. It depends on, the occasion, of course. But we've had this ceremony at the United Nations in the General Assembly Hall. I mean, grand ceremonies too. Neighborhood meditation circles, where people are continuing it, on a monthly basis. It's really very, very, touching and profound. Oh,
It was amazing for us to do that the first evening we were together. We're going to share a screen of the picture, final products ceremony. There we are in.
oh.
It was not 94, 96 of us because a lot of people were jet lagged. These
That
were
was the
that
first
stayed.
night.
This was the very first night in our reception, and then we had a dinner that had enough food to supply a small country, and then some people just couldn't stay. So those in the picture were the delegates that named off all of the nations of the country, and we built the spiral of the
Flag mandala.
flags around a little desktop model of
There it is right there.
the
Baby peace poles.
baby peace pole right there.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful, wonderful way to get started
Mm.
for 7 days.
And then that writing there is the Amharic, on
Okay.
the other side of the English.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. It was very late that night, but we
It was.
we did.
Got to do what
You were all peace troopers.
Yeah.
Is there
Well,
a list anywhere of all the Peace Pole locations?
Say again?
Is there a list anywhere of all the Peace Pole locations?
Well, peace poles started to be planted in this, early 70s, late 60s. And we didn't have any data keeping. We didn't have computers. We didn't have any kind of, and nobody knew at that time that it was so important to keep track. People were just going out and planting them, making them, planting them, giving them away. But, we have a good amount of data since maybe 15, 20 years ago. So we're trying hard now to map them out. We're working on a map program online where people can go and add a peace pole if they see a peace pole. We're working on all of that right now. And it just takes a lot of time, with the tech, on the tech side to make that happen. But that would be so wonderful, to have a site where people can go and post a picture and a little, description of the peace pole. So it's in the works. It's in the works.
So also, Judah, when people order and plant a peace pole, they're invited to do a little story about it, maybe a couple of photos, obviously for the local press, but also to send back to May Peace Prevail on Earth's staff, because they have a blog and a website and they share where the recent plantings have been. And we're very excited about this map development because it'll be a way to discover ones where the people that originally planted it may not be there anymore. But those of us that are traveling see one and we go on the map and say, I found another one, and can put in the location in a photo.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fumi, is it okay to show our peace poll hat?
That- I'd love to, because I call Bob and Noel a walking peace pole. They're our walking peace pole. So this little presentation is really a tribute to them.
Okay, so
now
let's,
now you have to go to, how's that work? To get
I
the
think I
video,
go here.
if they can hear the audio. Hold on a second.
Let's bring it up here a little bit. Can you hear it?
Can't see
Yeah,
it.
but we can't see anything. We still
Yeah,
see
you gotta
the
stop screen sharing.
picture.
Hold a
Are
second.
you going to do an introduction to what everyone's going to be seeing?
Why don't you do that while I work it?
Your screen sharing shows the flag mandala.
Stop share. Why didn't it do it?
Okay, you talk about it for a second and I'll bring it.
Okay, so birth 2012, and we're just starting to wake up, and we decided, you have to do those first.
I will.
We decided we're going to go to all 48 states and tell everybody about, we're working with Barbara Marx Hubbard and tell them about birth 2012, and December 22nd of 2012 is going to be the new humanity. So we traveled to all 48 states and we took our peace poll with us. So when we showed this to Fumi, she just thought it was a riot and that she wants to show this during the
World Unity Week.
World Unity Week on that went.
Oh, okay.
Fumi, what day are you?
23rd.
23rd.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. So this is the travel or the traveling peace poll. So Bob, you got it?
We'll see.
Oh,
Let's see how this works.
In the globe.
We're going to stop it there.
why?
Sure.
Well, because it goes up to
Hawaii.
it goes to Australia. We went to Australia with Barbara Marx Hubbard.
It was fun watching the motion.
Could you see it and hear it? Because we're just trying to learn this technology.
Yeah, you flicked away for a moment, but then you came back.
What do you say?
You clicked away from it for a moment when you decided to make it minimize it.
Oh,
Well,
I
thank
see.
you for bearing with our learning curve.
Yes.
So I think that's why when Fumi, you're telling your story about traveling the original colonies,
Mhm.
I were having flashbacks because
We are.
had the advantage of email and cellular phones because we were planning everything somewhere between 2 days and 2 weeks in advance of our arrival of each place where we invited ourselves to. So we went to a lot of bookstores and crystal shops and new age places too.
Yeah, Kathy, have you seen our peace poll? We have it set up next to the RV at
It's usually at
sunrise.
yeah, we always have it out at
Yeah,
some.
and there's one at the church on Broadway that I used to belong to, and I think there's one up at Leela and David's at Star
Oh.
House.
Oh,
I think
Star
that's-
House.
House.
Yeah, I never knew the story about it. I've seen them all this time. I had no idea, and I saw yours in the background back there, but I never knew any of the story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I've been seeing them for years and I didn't know where they came from.
Yeah, me neither. I never knew.
There's some at a couple of elementary schools in Boulder also that my kids were at. I can't remember which ones, but Boulder and Longmont, perhaps both.
Yeah, I think there's one at Mile High Church in Denver. I think
I love it.
there's one at Valley View Hot Springs where I go.
It's
Uh,
like Johnny Appleseed or Kilroy was here.
Now, something else that Fumi was sharing with us the other day is that they did newsletters. So she opened up one of these newsletters from 1980,
Yeah.
late 80s.
Yeah, 87, 86, 87.
And there was John Denver was planting a peace pole, and who else? I mean, it was like a celebrity list doing
amazing.
this. It was, I mean,
Yeah, there's one on the grounds of what used to be the grounds of Windstar up in Snowmass, which is now Rockland Institute. I assume
Right.
it's there.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
you're a gem that
So
been in our backyard, and
Let's talk about World Unity Week for a few moments, because when
yeah, we need to be closing.
so some of you are aware that Unity Earth has been creating a movement, what they call the Road to 2020, which has included festivals and gatherings around the world since 2016. And we were blessed to be on the last international trip when we went to the Holy Land. And so
to meet Fumi,
obviously. And and so we the intent of the closing event of that was to be a caravan of unity across America the whole month of September, starting at Grace Cathedral in San Francisco on August 28th and ending up on International Day of Peace on the weekend of September 21st. And so the intention was to actually have a caravan traveling across the country of musicians and speakers and dignitaries and indigenous and all the representation
and we know
that we had.
what happened.
And so the realization that might be an online event begat about 6 weeks ago the idea of celebrating June 20th, starting with the solstice, through 27th, because there are a number of other historically significant dates. The UN's International Day of Yoga is on the 21st or 22nd. The 75th anniversary of the UN Charter is that week. The 20th anniversary of the United Religions Initiative is that week. And so all of a sudden, all of us that had been involved in planning for the Caravan of Unity said, let's do something and learn how to use technology even more to bring movements and organizations together in a week of unity across the world. And so that's what is becoming and has become World Unity Week. And it will be a multi-Zoom room, international, around-the-clock celebration of peace and unity. And we really invite you, if you haven't already, to sign up at worldunityweek.org. And there'll be updates there about all the different stages or halls or rooms. So there will be literally multiple Zoom rooms going on simultaneously around different themes. For example, peace and justice, youth and family, environmental, you name it. And the co-creators Convergence, because of all the hard work of Kathy and Noel for the last week, we have
or two.
That
Kathy Mason.
24/7 have been, we've created 10 hours of programming for Friday of that week.
Friday.
So we're
Friday.
On Friday the 26th. So we're very excited that through contacts and friends that we have Marianne Williamson's going to spend an hour with us, and Gene Houston's going to spend time with us, and representatives from Dominer are going to be with us. And
Kathy's bringing some really neat people.
Kathy's bringing some amazing people to the conversation too.
I almost have the graphic done. You want me to show it if I
Sure.
can?
Yeah.
I don't have everybody's name on it, but
That's all right.
okay. Well, but I can't, you have to let me share screen.
Here, hang
Okay,
on real
make her
quick.
co-host.
Just torture them a little bit. And then you got to train me on what to do.
I'm on
Do you know
the
how to
website
use
right now
Zoom
too.
like this level? I've been using Zoom for 4 years, but I don't know this level of it. So this will be on
There you go.
the job training.
You got it.
Friday. I'm going to put it on my calendar.
So there are over 200 organizations and movements that are already involved in creation.
Let me put view, fit on screen. Okay, so I don't have everybody's name on it. Let me view, window view, show take the rulers off.
Oh, look.
Anyway, well, I was trying to make it so you didn't see the job in progress, but these are all the people that are that are so far. I think I may have missed one, but this is, can you see it? Or do you-
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
So
So
Good
that's James
job.
Tibbet. This is Donnie and Marie. No, just Donnie.
Donna and Norma.
Donnie and Marie.
So anyway, I'm still putting, you can see, I just put these in and kind
Good
of put it
job.
up. But yeah, this is all our people, and they're just one's more magical than the next.
So
Yeah.
Kathy, I'm not clear who these people, these are all involved in one event or
In our event, in CCC,
the one?
Co-Creators Convergence has a day on the main platform,
So what is the time frame for that? Do you have a time frame?
8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
Okay.
And let me
Is
see.
there a way?
I
I
know
can
you may have
contribute
added
some way?
something after that.
So
No, I think Todd and Morgan are the last.
Yeah, but I just saw this,
Yeah.
Judah, what was your question?
and it
Is there a
says
way I could be part of
Barbara
it?
Marks Hubbard
Absolutely, Judah.
That's just a meditation, pre-recorded meditation.
for an hour.
No, that's wrong.
Oh, look
Okay.
at that.
Okay, and also just so you know, on this it says Marianne Williams instead of Williamson.
Oh, geez. Once you do
It
things,
would be good to say her name right.
could we have Marianne and Jean up here?
Up
On
taller,
top.
you mean up here?
Yes, up the
Yeah, I
top.
can move them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Mr. Sunglasses guy. He hasn't responded really at,
She put him in the center. Well,
Yeah, but I think they should
we
be
don't need to
bigger.
have a working session here.
but I think it looks great.
It
It's
looks
coming along.
Love it. It's
think you're
gorgeous.
Well, I gotta get it done.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we-
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. It's like, I stayed up till 11 or 1 o'clock this night. I was like, I can't do this.
Well, that's why we're still.
Yeah, and I left somebody's .com off their email. I just said Eleanor@gmail.
Is
Okay,
there a way that I
get
can,
it.
I didn't
We
ask my
get it.
question well.
Judah's asking a question.
Is there a way that I can contribute more than just attend? Is there any way, is all your slots booked up?
Ours are, we didn't have that many, because some of those are panel.
Uh-huh.
But they are still, there is some,
Yeah.
there's still, well, that phone call, I just got 2 phone calls while I was on. And they're having interesting challenges fitting everybody in,
Oh,
scheduling. So you can try.
Um,
You
Who would I
can try,
talk to?
there's a form on roadunityweek.org.
Okay.
There
I'm
is
not
a
taking
form
it.
on there and you can fill it out.
Okay.
But I think there were 111 people on a call last night. So.
Okay, I'm behind the curve. I get it.
Yeah, they'll do,
are
they're doing
open
something again
spaces.
in September.
there are open spaces that is open for people to drop in. And so look for the open spaces on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but the main thing to do, Judah, is to register. Then you'll be plugged in.
Yeah, I'm already at the
Looks like
website.
we've taken things away from
Yes.
the peace poll. So let's get back to Fumi.
Thank you for mentioning it.
Well, we're all in, like they say, the favorite saying these days, we're all in it together.
That's what they say. Well, tell us about what your hour and a half on the main hall.
Well, it's 2 hours, Bob.
Oh, 2
Oh, 2
hours.
Okay, wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
I'm just, I hope
Well,
that
they want more time.
everything fits in because it's chock full of, we're talking about, if you want to know more about Peacefuls, this is really, we're doing the origin story with a video presentation of the founder, from the 50s, and we go through him and the present chairperson from Mount Fuji Sanctuary. We visit our sanctuary in Scotland, our sanctuary in New York, and then we have 20 people in the Zoom room, and Bob and Noel will be there too, and each one will give their peaceful story, like what peacefuls mean to them, and they're sharing their stories, message from the peaceful, and it's just going to be fantastic. And then we have video presenters from every continent. We have 40 presenters that are going to be speaking about their
Oh my
people.
gosh. In
So
2
it's
hours,
everyone is going to be saying a different story.
okay, are you gonna time them? Who's the timekeeper?
Hello.
40 people.
Hello. My timekeeper and stream keeper are right here, Bob and yeah.
Oh, that's what you're doing? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so they get 3 minutes and 2 breaths.
That's right. If anyone gets long-winded, you know, the
Oh my gosh.
gong is going to go off, right?
We have a very nice little chime we're going to do.
And Victoria's taking
We are.
notes of all of this because she is actually going to be sponsoring a yes
What is that? Can't read it.
and for your environmental sustainability, which is
Ooh.
the day multi-speakers event coming up. And so yeah, you'll be able to see how it's done and how it's not done next week during World Unity Week. But the thing is that World Unity Week, and we've been blessed to be a part of some of the planning elements of it, it is so amazing to see people who support the idea of peace and unity in the world.
Mm-hmm.
For many of them, worked for months in their movement or organization or whatnot, and for others for decades and decades, to put down their ego and their identity brand and all that other stuff at the door and say, this is truly our moment on the planet. I mean,
Right.
a virus is a part of nature and a part of living organisms. It is yet another of the many wake-up calls. Unrest of humanity hurting each other in the streets in so many different ways, and that being on a public world stage. These are the moments that these organizations have said, I want to make sure that I'm contributing. It's not about my brand being there. It's about this is an opportunity for connection, which has just been amazing.
Well, what I think is really interesting about it is that they're just embracing the unknown.
Right.
They've never done anything like this before. And it's just like they're taking one footstep in front of the other. And it's going to be perfectly imperfect.
Exactly.
But it's going to raise such a vibration on this planet that, you know, it's just really an honor to be a part of it in whatever way, whether it's by contributing 10, 11 hours of content or, you know, input from all the continents, or just coming and supporting the people who are there, who are, you know, stepping out and sharing the information. All the links are on our Facebook page. And I've asked everyone who's a co-host to share it on their pages and to step up as a co-host. So, if anybody else, Judah, if you want to be a co-host and share it, Victoria, Fumi, you're already invited. Kathy's already on there, of course.
Yeah. So, to have to see the technology that we're using today, we smile all the time thinking that Barbara Marks Hubbard is over there on the other side of the veil, just giggling from ear to ear.
This is her dream.
To know that we are using technology for good, and to have included in that the most ancient of wisdom of the indigenous elders that'll are already and will be a part of this. It's really very, very significant time.
Cool.
Well, I think this has been a fabulous gathering, and I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as we have. It's just been delightful. We said we don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do it because we just love Fumi so much. And it blows my mind, 200,000 peace poles, acupuncture points, and tying it into karma and to the greater vibration of this planet. So Fumi, could you say just a few words and close this out for this evening? That'd be really awesome.
Well, I think we all made an agreement when we came to this earth with our true self to work for world peace and to become co-creators in the evolutionary process, the evolutionary awakening of humanity. And that's the purpose that brings us all together here in this Zoom room and across the planet, that we're really stepping into our power. And it's so encouraging, inspiring, and just touching to be with you here and to be resonating and to have a deep heart resonance with all of you. And to continue our journey. We come from different backgrounds, cultures, traditions, karmic past, but we've reincarnated so many times over and over to prepare ourselves energetically and also in heart, mind, and spirit to step up this time on this planet for the next big awakening that we are all a part of. So it's really an honor to know you and be with you and walk with you, pray with you, do ceremonies with you. And I look forward to being with you again. And thank you so much for inviting me to share the peaceful story, which is all of our stories. The peaceful story is our story. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Fumi.
Prevail on earth.
I'm going to
Wonderful.
unmute all. Let's see. How do we do that?
Right here.
Okay, unmute all. Mute all.
Judith's muted still.
Sometimes we have to.
They have changed something about this thing.
I just unmuted myself.
Thank you.
Okay, just unmute yourself. Thank you, Fumi.